Thanks for tuning in to 101.3 BKMG The Farce, coming to you live from separate places, pre-recorded. Now presenting The Bane and Mickey Show.
Alrighty, I'm recording.
Well, me too. It's our musical podcast.
Do you want to clap?
I'll clap while I sing.
Do one more.
One more.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
When we do the Star Kid episode, we're gonna have to sing like every other minute.
I feel like it'll just be us singing the songs for an hour.
I mean, yeah, that
and
too.
And then being like, Star Kid's cool, go check them out.
Yeah, this is not a paid sponsorship.
One Shot podcast that you're listening to is about the Star Kids because
we're not quite as cool as them.
We're not as cool as they are.
But we like to
anyway, here's our podcast.
The Star Kids.
And okay. Be the worst podcasters that there's ever been.
Oh, God.
Maybe we should start saving these intros and we'll release it as a bonus before the cast.
I mean, I do have a bunch of stuff archived. I don't know if I necessarily have all of your halves of it, but I do have like all of my episodes, so.
I mean, I have all my audio, so it wouldn't be terribly difficult to put together.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well,
it's that time again. Time for the Bane and Mickey Show.
The Bane and Mickey Show. Boom.
That you're here listening to. Ba-da-ba.
Well.
So.
What day is it? never mind. It's a Tuesday.
Yes, it is a Tuesday.
But for you all listening, it's a Friday. Hopefully.
I mean, it could be a Tuesday when you're listening to it.
It could.
So.
You know, whatever. Whatever day of the week it is. Gavin, have you seen anything good recently?
I have. I spend all my time just watching stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have no life. So. I've watched the final season of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Uh-huh.
I watched one of my favorite shows as a kid, Ben 10, because it was on HBO.
Uh-huh.
I watched Chef Show, which makes me really hungry every time I watch it. And then I've been watching WandaVision.
Oh. Yes.
Only 3 episodes are out now as we're recording it, but by the time this drops, there'll be more. Probably almost all of them.
How many are supposed to be in the season?
9, I think.
Okay.
It's like 8 or 9. They're shorter. So far, there's not a whole lot of give as to what's really going on. It's kind of just an homage to TV in the 50s, then the 60s, then the 70s. And next week, it's the 80s.
Whoa!
Even though that's the 90s.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the wrong...
I know when it is. What have you watched recently?
I watched Wild Things with Dominic Monaghan.
Lame.
No, it's not lame. It's Bear Grylls meets Steve Irwin. It's the best thing in the world. Basically, he just goes on adventures to various countries and finds creepy crawly things and shows you shows you all about them and almost gets himself attacked by a snake like every episode. Because he's like, whoa, look, there's a snake here. And then he goes to pick it up. Or, he picks it up so that you can look at it. And then he's like, okay, you see how its head is turned back like that? That means it's about getting ready to strike. And then you're like, okay, so why are you holding it, you idiot? There's this one where it actually attacks the camera. And I'm just like, okay, Dominic. Why? Anyways. He also does dumb stuff. He let army ants bite him because he wanted to pain test it. It's wild. It's good. Yeah. you just like watching Dominic Monaghan be an idiot, but also be, passionate about bugs and shit. Watch it. It's on YouTube. It's free.
Free, you say?
It's free.
Freedom. Speaking of things that weren't free, we're going to talk about Tenet.
Whoa.
We're going to play the podcast in reverse.
Oh, first off, oh my God. Can you imagine? First off, though, Gavin, I have some terrible news. Guess what? They pushed back No Time to Die yet again, and it's not supposed to come out until October of 2021.
If I liked James Bond, I'd probably be mad right now.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine.
It'll be fine.
Anyways, I'm just mad.
They're just trying to delay Daniel Craig leaving.
Honestly. I mean, I'm okay with that, but I just want to see it. Anyway, yes. Today we're going to talk about Tenet. Different genre, different people, different actors.
Yes. But similarly pushed back a bunch.
It was, yeah. And it was supposed to be the big title to reopen the movies, but then that didn't happen because a few movies came out in like August, and they're like, ha, beat you to it. This is what happens when you postpone your movie.
Surprise, bitch.
So I thought that was kind of funny. But
this movie really should be seen in theaters. I kind of regret watching it at home.
Yeah.
The theater experience would have been something to behold, much like all of Nolan's films should really be seen in the theater the first time.
Yeah, that's true. I did wait to watch it until I was at my parents' house, so my brother has his sound system set up downstairs, and so it's like at least, decent, and I'm not watching it on my computer, but it would have been nice in the theater.
Yeah. I mean, I have pretty decent sound. I just feel like not having the distractions of home.
Oh, yeah.
Just focus on watching it in that big ass screen with Nolan's.
I know. You really can't recreate the theater experience at home, no matter how much you try. It just doesn't happen. Unless
you're rich and you literally
have a movie theater in your home. Dream goals.
That's pretty much the best you can do. I also have like a tiny little studio with a big ass theater on the back.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. It's good stuff. It's kind of your classic Nolan sci-fi what the fuck is going on movie. Mm-hmm. So nothing completely unexpected, Yeah. Bit of a brain fuck again, not unexpected. Always. With Nolan. I will have to say though, he has this theme of non-linear storytelling. And like nothing's bad about that.
No.
It's just
like it's either non-linear or it's just zigzaggy linear.
Yeah.
Because I mean like Inception is linear, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense while you're in it.
Right.
It's probably his most linear movie.
Yeah.
It's more reality bendy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just say, like, I commend him for having the brain spans to actually figure that out while writing it without having to legit write the script backwards. Letters and
I'm still
all,
not
like,
convinced he didn't just like write Memento forward and then be like, this is not as good. And then flip
do
it
it
backwards.
I mean, is it the same here? I feel like it's the same here.
Well, it's a little different because it just seems more like he wrote a forward story and then took the pieces and went, woo, confetti! And then he just sort of put it back together and was like, this is something. This is definitely a movie that is probably a thing.
I will say, when I watched this the first time, I was like, this is just, especially,
Neil?
Nope. Hold on.
Hamish?
When Michael Caine shows up.
Oh.
This whole time, I'm just like, is this not like a Memento Batman Inception combination? Because that's what I'm getting out of this movie right now.
It's also like a lot of Nolan's movies, you have to watch it multiple times to
Right.
fully like get it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't get like its full impact.
Yeah.
The one thing that just like, honestly, more than all the reverse timey wimey garbage was that Elizabeth Debicki is so goddamn tall.
She's so tall. I looked it up. She's
She's
6'3".
tall as hell.
6'3". Holy
That's as
crap.
tall as I am.
Yeah. And she wears heels in the movie too. And I'm like, why are they making you taller? Which is fine. It's just like, what the heck?
I would never wear heels. I would fall off of them. It's the only thing stopping me from dressing up as Frankenfurter for Halloween.
Oh my god, please do.
I'm afraid of the heels. I'll be honest. I'd fall right off those things. I don't understand how women do it.
Yeah, I would say this film has a really good cast. It's got some new faces, it's got some old faces, and they all do some really good job. They all do a really good job.
What new faces are in this movie?
I mean, I would not like super new, but like John David Washington is coming up. He's growing, he's on the rise. But like then you get all these little like you get like Michael Caine. You get a little Michael Caine cameo. Robert Pattinson has more than a cameo.
Aaron Taylor Johnson has a cameo, kind of.
Yeah, I think they all did a really good job.
Yes, agreed. Kenneth Branagh is the villain. Chef's kiss.
I think they wrote it really well too. It's like, especially compared to what was the last movie villain we talked about? Probably Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. Big improvement.
Because he was consistent the whole time.
Yeah, big improvement. Yeah, and Kenneth Branagh just did a good job with it too. Again, good cast.
I mean, admittedly, he is sort of your generic Russian movie bad guy.
True.
But they also don't make him like redeemable, like a lot of villains. Like we were just talking about Wonder Woman, so like Max Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I feel like a lot of villains, you watch them and you're like, oh, they kind of have a point, or they're sort of right, but he's just an evil asshole the whole time. And he doesn't stop for 1 second. It's just a consistent piece of shit.
Yeah. Let's see. I watched it twice. Did you watch it more than twice?
I think I only watched it twice. I might have watched it a third time. I think it's only twice, though.
Which I suggest, again, with a lot of Nolan films. It's a good thing to do. And then you can kind of look for little like details and hidden eggs and stuff as you're getting through it. But I don't think this movie has so much going on that I don't know if 2 times is enough.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know if 2 times is enough, but 2 seems like the minimum.
Right. Like I'd probably.
But you also have to really like sci-fi time travel-y hijinks.
I know it's hard to watch it more than twice, just because it's such a brain melty thing, and there's so much happening, and I don't know. I think you'd have to like really, 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 really heavily analyze it. But
plus it's really long.
Yeah, it's really long. But like, yeah, it's confusing sometimes.
It made a little more sense to me the second time.
Yeah, maybe just because you know what's going on.
Though, and as always, spoilers, but when they're first in the airport, immediately I knew that John David Washington was just fighting himself.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that and I was like, who else is it going to be?
Yeah,
they covered his whole face.
Their whole body is just covered.
Their whole body's covered. There's literally no reason not to do that.
I like to quote the film itself and say, don't try to understand it, just feel it,
I love it when movies just put in like kind of little lines to just be like, anything that I've missed or any plot holes, just don't think about it. Just
Right,
fuck
right.
her off.
Um,
But what about? Don't think about it.
like I said, uh, I do enjoy most of the cast, and I actually really enjoyed Robert Pattinson's performance in this. I have enjoyed his last few films. He's coming back to it. I had to remind myself that he's actually British because I forgot for a second. And I was like, why are they just randomly having him talk like this? And I'm like, oh wait, haha, never mind. His character though,
voice.
yeah, I love his character. His character is so random sometimes. Like, you want to crash a plane? No, from the air. Don't be dramatic. We're gonna land it and then crash it.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like he's not like the butt of the joke, but he's kind of like the light. He's
the weird British guy who makes jokes.
Yeah, like you have John David Washington, like over here, like not understanding anything that's going on. He's so confused, and then you just need to have a little crack of a joke and someone who actually isn't confused by the world. So you just throw in Neil every few minutes. Yeah.
Yes.
What an intro.
Yes, what an intro,
what
says
an intro
my notes.
To this movie.
It's very intense, and it's very fast, and it kind of all happens really quickly.
Yeah, but I like that it's not too long of an intro. Sometimes you have intro scenes like this where it just takes forever. It takes like 15 minutes or something. This is honestly, I think the first time it maybe felt a little long, but the second time I went through, it's really quick. It's like 5 minutes maybe. And then the interrogation scene is like 2 minutes. It's like really, really quick to just go like boom, boom, boom to like one thing to the next. And so it's nice because it doesn't drag itself out.
It's kind of reminiscent of the Joker bank robbery from Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Where it just gives you a really quick but like good intro to the character, and you kind of understand more or less what they're all about. Like right up front.
Yeah, in those first few minutes we already understand that he's kind of he's like a double agent.
I'm the protagonist.
Yeah, he's a protagonist. He doesn't agree with the people he's working for, sort of thing. And he's all government-y, like spy kind of thing. CIA. Yes. Doing whatever. And you get all of that really, really quickly. And then you also are immediately thrown into this whole reverse universe time war thing.
The Time War.
Which brings us to your note of Neil and the protagonist are just River and the Doctor, which is kind of true. Although
if you know Doctor Who at all, you'll know that basically River and the Doctor just meet in reverse order and sort of travel along their opposite time streams. So they first meet when he's at the end of it's the end of her life.
Yeah.
And the last time they meet is
the end of
the beginning. His. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say.
No, it's the end of his because he meets her when she's a baby. Spoilers for Doctor Who.
Their last moment. Never mind.
And that's the episode where he dies. But it's confusing because it's not even also in order too. Like they meet randomly and then they have their whole code of like what just happened kind of thing. When they meet, they establish this code of like, oh, I just got back from this event.
Yeah.
But yeah, we learned that that's basically what Neil and the protagonist are. Is just Neil is going backwards in time, and the protagonist.
No. It's just the knowledge that they have of each. So Neil
is from the future.
He's not
going
from the
back in time. Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
Because he's from.
He's not from the future. I'm 100% positive. I'm gonna scream at you if you say from the future.
He is because the protagonist is from the past, and he's moving forwards to go create the thing. Wait, no, he has to go back in the past to create. I don't know. They get mixed up. So at one point, they're going forward and backwards, but then they keep going through the the time reversing thing, and so I think they end up in who knows what order they end up in because they keep going
No.
into the thing. Yes.
No, you're wrong.
No.
Here's what
you're wrong.
Kendall, I've watched too much Doctor Who and time travel shit to not know what I'm talking about right now. Shut your face. What it is they meet in the present,
Yes.
and it's pretty much the end of the line for Neil. He's already been through Tenet and everything. John David Washington's at the beginning, so he's going to go to the future. So the Neil that John David Washington meets the first time that we don't see, like when he first joins Tenet, is John David Washington from the future. So yes, don't argue with me.
No, okay, whatever. Anyways, the reverse time thing in this movie is chaotic.
I'll draw you a picture when we're done.
Okay, sure. And there's some really cool, like, when they're fighting backwards and when they have... My favorite part is when the bad guy... I can't remember anyone's name. When Max... No, not Max. What's Max's dad's name? What's the Russian's guy's?
Sator. Right? That's what you're talking about, Kenneth Branagh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sator.
Okay. So, when he has... when he kidnaps Kat, and is like talking to the protagonist behind the glass, his audio, you can like slightly hear it from muffled behind the glass, is backwards, and then when it's broadcast into the room where you are with the protagonist, it's played forwards. And I thought that was really, really cool, because it's not something that everyone might notice unless you are a film nerd, maybe. I don't know, but I thought it was pretty cool because I noticed it like right away, and I was like, that's... And it's already been established at this point, the whole backwards time thing too. So it's like, ooh.
One thing I noticed though is, I don't know if you watched the trailers, but the trailer seemed like it was going to be some super complicated thing. But I feel like at least the concept of it is not that hard to understand.
But also, what Nolan trailer is not overly complicated?
Fair enough.
I would say the concept is very creative and like imaginative, but I would say some of the writing is messy and not great. And like some of that, because you have that like weird, that multiple locations but one conversation kind of thing, which is like a kind of a cliche, this has been done too many times sort of thing. And
it's just sort of weird because like when you think about the logic of it, like did you really pause your conversation to get on a train and then bring it up
and
again?
then continue the conversation? Yeah. It is, I mean, it is a good way to show, like, okay, this person is explaining it to this person who then explains it to person C, who then explains it to D, whatever. Like, that makes sense. And then you only have to explain it to the audience once, but it's also like, okay, we know that you didn't, pause your conversation, wait 2 hours until you're on a rooftop, continue the conversation, go to a restaurant, eat your lunch, and then continue the conversation. You know, like it does kind of bring you out of the moment a little bit.
And then I feel like Kat was not the best character.
Yeah.
Like not like the personality. I just feel like she didn't really have a personality other than like, I don't like my husband and I want to save my son, and that was her whole deal, the whole movie.
Right.
And doesn't really get any deeper than that.
Yeah, and it was when you have that moment when she's driving away on the boat with Max and she sees someone jump out off the boat, it's kind of like, okay, we know who that is, because also this has been done 50 million times where you see your future past self doing something and you mistake it for someone else, kind of thing.
That's a classic one.
It is a classic one.
Harry Potter.
Yep. Yeah. So I thought it was kind of like a a lame little thing, because it's like, okay, is it actually the mistress or is it just her? Turns out it's just her. There are some pretty wild time hijinks. I think they are giving National Treasure a run for their money, because the heist plot in this movie to get into the art house is so complicated.
Yes.
I love that scene.
It's great.
I
would have liked for some of the dialogue not to be drowned out by
That's true.
Airplane noise. Maybe it's realistic, but also would like to hear what they're saying.
That's true. Yeah, but it's also, yeah. But I love, I mean, and maybe this is why I like National Treasure. I just love people trying to figure out how to, like, really obscure plans to do things. Like, yeah, we're going to drive a plane into it so that the fire alarm goes off, but then we're going to bring our own, we're going to train ourselves to hold our breath for 30 seconds. And then, while running, and then pretend to pass out so that we can steal stuff, go backwards in time, and then
they don't go backwards in time.
I mean,
not during the first heist.
Not during the first heist, but
that's later on.
Still,
it kind of reminded me of the when they were laying down, passed out. It reminded me of the Community episode where they go to Jeff's law firm, and Troy and Abed are trying to sneak into the office, and then Annie drugs the janitor with chloroform, and then they're all laying down like, oh no, we all got chloroform. And the janitor's like, why does she have a rag? Also, who is she? And she chloroforms him again. She's like, can we just go?
Yes. Yeah, that moment is like, also, how long were they supposedly passed out? Like, would they actually have been? Who knows? Yeah, the fight sequences are kind of cheesy because it's like one person is fighting backwards and one person is fighting forwards. And it's like, did you just have in your mind this idea of a backwards fight and then decide to make a movie based on it? Like, that's kind of what it feels like sometimes. What if I was
fighting someone who was fighting me backwards?
But I was actually just fighting myself?
Question mark?
Time to get to it, and then you start talking.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be something.
Yeah, I will say
Christopher Nolan.
I will say though, when you get to the third act, when they're gonna have like their third time heist, whatever, into the underground cave to get the access to whatever nuclear material is in there. That when they're training for that, when there's a bunch of soldiers training for that, they're training backwards, which I thought was pretty cool. They're just in the background while Neil is having something explained to him, or the protagonist is talking to someone. But in the background, you just see these people like backwards, like fighting. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I was also like, God damn, that takes so, yeah. It's like, instead of attacking, you're actually like blocking. It's crazy, but it's fascinating to watch. So good on the fight choreographer there. Yeah, but going on with that whole heist at the end, with the red team and the blue team, and the editing in that moment is so good because you get so lost in what is happening.
It is very confusing, but in a good way.
Yeah, but the only clues you have are red team and blue team. And so you're like, okay, now we're with the red team. Okay, now we're with the blue team, and they're being explained a different... Wait. Now we're back with the red team, and they're going to do the opposite of the... Okay, and then now we're back with the blue team. And it's... I love that moment for the editing, but God, it makes your head hurt.
I also liked the reveal with Neil and his little backpack dangly.
Yeah, oh, Neil. Yeah, and that's very much the River Doctor kind of moment, that's kind of how the Doctor discovers who River is in a way, because it's like after she dies or whatever, and then it's like, oh shit, sort of thing, because he has like a memento from her, and it's like, oh wait, it was you the whole time?
It was you the whole time? Oh man.
But yeah, although you do see it coming. But yes, I do like that moment.
I mean, you can kind of. I didn't guess that Neil was the guy who saves him in the beginning, or he was the one who did the lock.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like pretty early on, at least for me, it was clear that Neil like already knew him, like from the
Also
future and
because it's like
stuff.
every time he needs an explanation or whatever, Neil's just like, what happened? Like it just happens. It just I can't. It just
What
happens.
happens happened.
It's like he can't explain it because that would give away what's going to happen for the protagonist. But it's also like if
Spoilers.
he doesn't explain it, then that'll give away who he is. So it's kind of like a messy. Anyways, uh,
I like this note you hear have here. Why do we see him working out so often? Like, okay, we get it. You can do a pull up.
yeah. Like the first 30 minutes, there's like three different sequences where he's just doing pull ups on like random stairwells, random ladders, random, and I'm like, okay, why? And then it happens again, like halfway through, he's doing it again. I'm like, I don't get it. Why? Like, did they
Probably
just discover
rehab.
on set that he could do a pull up, and then like five in a row, and then they're like, wait, that's impressive. Do this again. Someone get the camera.
I wonder if it's physical rehab because he was on bed rest, so he's trying to.
Yeah,
And
but
more from a filming perspective, probably from a logical story perspective, it's probably physical recovery from being shot at and stuff. But I think we all
sure.
just want to see John David Washington do some pull ups without a shirt on.
Oh my god.
Maybe that's just me,
I mean, like, I don't know.
or
It's
maybe
just
it's just
like
like a ritual,
we don't have to see
like
it five
any fight.
times. We get it, you know?
I disagree, but
Okay, Gavin had to see it
I
five
thought it was
times. That's
integral
fine.
to the plot, Kendall. And if you disagree, you're just a hater.
Whatever. Whatever. Okay. How much of that is also just BTS footage where they're like, wait, we could put this in the film. Let's do it.
Nolan's like, only 2 hours. Can't we throw anything in there? We have these shots of John just working out that we got. Like, he didn't know we were filming. He was just working out
Great,
on
put him in
set. He's
there.
like,
Put him in there.
can we use that? I mean, yeah, they're fine. Great.
Now
Put it
do
in.
it backwards. Great. Okay, that gives us like 20 more minutes. Perfect.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah. Jesus. That's like I was just gonna make it like with Memento. If you film like he filmed it forwards and he's like, shit, this is too short. This also is so stupid. And he's like, wait, if we just reuse that footage but put it in
Backwards.
reverse, yeah, you know.
I've always wondered how he filmed it. Like, if he filmed it in order
Uh huh.
and then just edited it backwards.
Right. Yeah. It's confusing. Same with well, that doesn't really work with this one because this one is just too messy. Okay, here's a question. Do you think the writers, well, I get Christopher Nolan was the writer. Do you think Christopher Nolan, do you think he had a completed draft on his desktop and then picked up his pen and it all disappeared and he's like, oh, whoa, backwards writing. And then he put his pen back down and it like reappeared again, you know, reverse time thing. So he basically wrote this script in reverse.
I don't think so. I don't know if that's how that would work.
Don't understand it, just feel it. And then all of a sudden he has a script in front of him.
What happens happened.
Happens, happened, did, and then it
That's
happens
what Neil
again.
says. He says, "What happens happened." Like, it's supposed to be like, "What happened has happened," but he says, "What happens happened."
Okay. Anyways, brain fuck much?
Gross.
I do find it interesting in scripts and stories when the character's name is just like the protagonist or like boy or like girl. Like when you decide not to give your character a name, it's really interesting in like a storytelling sense and like a screenwriting sense of like how to tell a story without like name dropping someone, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we don't need to know his name, and the story is so succinct that like only at the end when you see the credits and you see protagonist John David Washington that you realize no, he never was given a name. Like this whole time you're thinking in your brain that he has a name because that's just the way our brain is wired when we're watching things and you're just used to that, and so you're like Oh yeah, they're referring to this guy, and but only at the end are you like, oh wait, shit, what is his name? They never gave him a name. What the heck? So I don't know. I think it's
What's
interesting.
his name?
I think
Hey,
it's
what's
interesting.
your name? What's your name, man?
To do that. But do you think if they gave him a name, that it would give away who he is? Because then later we find out that he starts the
Created
company.
Tenet.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it would have mattered at all because they don't really talk about Tenet in any more than like a sort of abstract, ethereal, like way. They don't like the founder, Captain Marshall Winters, founder of Tenet. And he's like, that's my name. I founded Tenet.
Yeah.
I also think it's kind of hilarious how he just sort of stumbles through the movie not really knowing anything. And all he really does is just ask questions like, what's going on? Well, this is what's happening. But how's that work? Well, it works like this. Right, but how? Well, like this. Pretty much goes through the whole movie not knowing anything.
Right.
At all.
Right. Which, at that point, you're just him, right?
Yes. Yes. That's why you always need the human assistant, the lesser intelligent friend. So the smart person can have someone to explain it to you, the audience. You put on here that you think Neil is Kat's son.
Yeah, that's what I was reading up on. There's a bunch of theories that people have been like, oh my god, he's Max. And it goes with his whole, like, you have a future in the past, like, blah, 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 and then it's like, wait, where are you actually from? Who knows? And
it can't be.
There's
Neil
nothing
can't be
like
his son. Neil can't be the son.
But he could, because you don't know what timeline he's from.
Yes, you do.
Because he keeps inverting himself in time.
He's not the son.
Anyways. People, I mean, it's not confirmed. No one knows. But people, there's ideas of like, oh, he's very poshly British, like his mom, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole thing about his name, like Neil is the end of Maximilian spelled backwards. It's like a crazy, I don't know. Anyways.
No, it's not.
I'm just saying. Yeah, it is.
That's not how you spell Maximilian.
If you spell it the Russian way, there's a yen instead of IAN. Anyways, it's a theory. No one knows.
Maximilian.
You know, you want to see a sequel.
Yes.
That is a prequel.
A pre-sequel.
A pre-sequel.
A prequel.
Jesus Christ. For Neil.
Basically, the founding of Tenet, and it just is about Neil.
I think that would be
interesting. But then also, I feel like that'd be.
But if it's the founding of Tenet, then it would also be about the protagonist, not just Neil.
Right.
But also,
well, it could have Neil come in.
How much?
But then I feel like.
How much of a prequel for Neil is just like a repeat of kind of some of what happens in Tenet because he's in this.
I was just gonna say that. I mean, I just feel like it'd be cool to see him kind of show up towards the end, maybe. Almost more of a cameo.
Yeah.
You show like when they actually first meet, not when we think they first meet.
But for the protagonist, it's not the first time they meet.
Yeah.
It's only the first time they meet for Neil.
Yes.
Anyways.
Like River and the Doctor.
Yes.
When they meet in 1943, 1944.
Something like that.
One of those World War II years.
This movie is a palindrome, like Memento. And
is it really a palindrome? Like, is it like Memento though?
In a weird.
I mean, it has a lot of similar aspects to it, but I don't know if you could really call it a.
Like, if you watched the movie backwards, you would just be watching it from Neil's perspective. It's the whole Team Red, Team Blue thing. Or wait, no, you'd be watching it from the protagonist's perspective still. Hold on.
He would just get progressively stupider. It's not about Kendall. No, it has similarities where there's like reverse time stuff and it's non-linear.
Like it's not
in
as
a lot of ways.
simple as Memento. It's not as front to back as that, but it is similar in the whole. Because it goes, you basically start the film, go in one way, and then halfway through you have to go back the other way. When you have that whole going back through the time reverse thing.
I mostly agree with that.
And then you kind of sort of get back to the present, not really ish.
Yeah, he gets back.
Kind of. Anyways, confusing.
Also, with the time and the reverse thing, I feel like you can't make, at least in the current setting, you can't go back that far.
Right.
In terms of time. Like, in the future, you can go back further, which I think is what allows John David Washington to meet Neil initially.
And to start Tenet.
And how they got, like, Sador, all the nukes and stuff. But, like, in this one, I feel like it seems like they can only go back, like, a few hours or a few days. Oh, I guess Sador, though, he goes back
a week or so.
A couple months?
So does Kat. Kat goes back, like, a week.
I don't know. It wasn't clear how far back that was in the past when she...
It's also, like... Doesn't it get harder as you go further back because of the whole oxygen reversed thing? Which is also just a whole, like, element that you're, like... It's not pointless, because it makes sense. It makes sense why everyone's not just going back in time all day, every day, because you can't breathe normally and you have to have your own oxygen tank. But it's also, like... Is it also just to help you understand who's who in these moments? But Probably. It also, like...
Same with the red team, blue team.
Does it scientifically make sense? I don't know.
I feel like if you get too much into the science, it's not going to make a lot of sense. You just have to base it off the science of the movie. Not real life science. I feel
not
like
real life science. It's one of those things. I would like to have a scientist.
That's why it's science fiction.
That studies time and stuff. Analyze this film.
I don't know if that's a real area of study.
The doctor.
I think you mean a historian.
No, there's got to be some scientist out there who's like studying time travel and stuff.
Physicist, probably.
Yeah, sure, something like that. Anyways,
Physics.
Crazy movie. Makes your brain
watch it twice.
Explode. Watch it twice, 3 times if you can. If anything, watch it for the acting, the performances. It's not my favorite Nolan film, but like, it's not
the worst
one. The worst. I think also back to, oh my god, to bookend this, because that's how the film does it. I think if I had seen it in a theater, the first experience attachment would also kind of help lift up that, like, review of it or whatever, you know, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
To bring it back to the beginning, anyways, Gavin, what timeline are you in?
One of them, presumably.
Oh no. Is that an oxygen tank I see? Oh no! Gavin was going backwards the whole time. Or was I going backwards and you were going forwards? Have you ever tried? Okay, so have you ever watched Twin Peaks?
No.
Okay, never mind.
I know a little bit about it. I just haven't seen it.
Just like the amount of brain thought and effort it takes to figure out how to say a word backwards, but then also to memorize that and to get it right enough that you can say it backwards and then reverse it, but then the word is said forwards. Anyways, watch Twin Peaks. And
why wouldn't you just why wouldn't you say it forward and reverse the audio?
Well, so the idea with that scene, with those scenes, I'm pretty sure this is in Firewalk with Me. Jack's gonna yell at me. that I don't know, is that it's in this weird loopy time sequence thing, and so the antagonist, literally everything in that scene is played like it's edited in reverse. So all their movements, so when they were recording it, they spoke in reverse and they acted in reverse. And then when you play it, when they edited it, they flipped it so that it's played, their words are spoken forwards and their actions are spoken forwards, but it gives it this weird jarring like effect. Anyways.
This was like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but it's fascinating and it makes for an interesting brain fuck.
Fair enough.
Anyways, before we melt our brains even more, because that's what this podcast is all about.
We'll change it to brain melties.
That's a pretty good. Sure. Let's do some random topic time. Now, Gavin, we can choose from the box of random topics, or we can answer a semi-random topic that was given to us on the Instagram.
Let's do a semi-random topic given to us off the Instagram to show that we are listening.
Whoa! Should I say who gave us the thing? Is that...
You want to, unless they wish to remain anonymous.
It was not stated necessarily. Let me see if I even have it.
This comes to us from user D8UButts.
Okay. Alberticus Taurus on Instagram asked us, what is your favorite original soundtracks or scores in film?
Good one.
It is a good one.
Favorite original scores. Damn, that's a great question.
I would say I have favorite composers that then every time they compose a soundtrack, you just fall in love with them.
Have to listen to it.
One of my overall favorites would be Harry Gregson Williams and his soundtrack for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's very beautiful and magical. I also enjoy I have to look because I'm gonna get this name wrong. Michael Giacchino, who did the music for the Star Trek reboot films. I love that music, specifically the Into Darkness soundtrack. I love that soundtrack. And then I also enjoy, what's his first name?
I like Danny Elfman a lot.
Danny Elfman's good. I like Benjamin Wallfish, who did the It soundtracks, the It reboots. He also did Cure for Wellness, and he has done Blade Runner 2049. Danny Elfman, though, that's a good one. He also
Howard
did
Shore.
Yeah, Howard Shore. Howard Shore is really good. Obviously John Williams. He's like the grandfather of movie soundtracks.
Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer is a really good one. I mean, I like movie soundtracks. I do listen to them. If I'm like writing or something and I need music that isn't distracting, just put on a soundtrack. Also, because it's like if you need a specific mood, if you're writing and you're like, I'm writing an action scene, and then you go find some James Bond music or something.
I like the Big Hero 6 soundtrack.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. I also like crap. Never mind.
You like crap? Gross.
Yeah, sure.
Squash thing, Kendall. The squash thing.
What is the Doctor Who soundtrack?
Lots of people.
Because those are really good. The how about the British Opera? They do a lot of, and the orchestra. They do a lot of the performance for that.
Oh, looks like the current composer is Seguo Nakanola.
Okay, also Murray Gold. He did a lot of them. They're pretty good.
Yes.
Good stuff. Just go find some soundtracks, listen to them, watch them. Watch one of your favorite movies, and then but watch it, but don't watch
It's
it.
like your
just
favorite
listen
director
to it,
is making a mixtape just for you.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know the yeah, go watch a movie. I guess actually there aren't really movies that don't if you could take the soundtrack out and then see what the difference is when the soundtrack is in it. But then also don't watch a movie, just listen to a movie, close your eyes and listen to it. Does that make sense?
Close your eyes.
I'm not giving you a homework assignment. You don't have to do this. It's just
darling,
if you haven't done it before, just listen to a movie.
Can you feel my heart beating? Do you understand?
Okay, Gavin.
Do you feel the pain?
I'm cutting you off before we get sued.
Don't sue me.
Cool. Well, thank you for listening. I hope you didn't get too messed up in the head because of the confusingness that is Christopher Nolan and Tenet.
Or did you?
Thank you for your comments and whatever. If there are
Thanks,
more,
Alberta, for suggesting that topic.
Yes, if there's more you want to hear from us, let us know on our Instagram, which is @VaneandMickey_show. Hold on, I'm gonna check that. Our Instagram is VaneandMickey_podcast. Where we post about our newest episodes and we post stories and stuff, and you can comment and let us know what you like, and you can also comment on the episodes and rate them and tell us how we're doing and let us know what you want to hear, because while Gavin and I do this because we love to talk about film, we also do it because we know you like to hear about film, so and TV.
Presumably.
Hopefully, maybe,
even if it's not from us.
Anyways. Before we get too rambly, we'll see you later next week. Have fun, and if you're gonna reverse yourself in time, don't forget your oxygen tank. Okay. Bye.
Bye.